Hey everyone, I'm Carlo and today I'm going to teach you how to play Men at Work, which is a dexterity game that tests your stacking abilities and your steady hands. Players will take turns trying to complete a randomly assigned task in a shared work site. Eventually, Boss Rita will show up and you'll be trying to impress her. But if you let your ambitiousness turn to carelessness, you might cause an accident and you might lose one of your precious safety certificates. And you don't get those back. So stick around and let me show you how to play. Setup begins by setting up the construction site. The rulebook says to let the youngest player do this, but feel free to assign a player however you'd like. That player then places 3 of these gray supports on the playing surface. Then they place 1 girder of each of the 4 colors, white, black, red, and purple, onto the supports. Finally, they place 1 worker on any one of the girders. The design of the site is entirely up to them based on the following rules. Supports may be placed however they like, girders cannot touch the playing surface, and the worker must touch the girder with both feet. The rulebook offers some examples of what a work site might look like depending on the level of difficulty you want to set. Shuffle up the instruction cards, putting the singular Boss Rita card about a quarter of the way down, which is about 12 cards down. Leave the stack with the orange sign facing up. Give each player 3 safety certificates, 2 for expert players. Along with the rest of the girders, supports, and workers, with hard hats on, of course, you'll also keep the Employee of the Month awards, the beams, the bricks, and the rescue hook with measuring stick all within reach of all players. Now you're ready to go. The goal of the game is either to collect the required amount of Employee of the Month awards, or be the last player remaining with any of these safety certificates. If neither of those conditions have been met and all the building materials run out, the game can also end that way, at which point the player with the most remaining awards and certificates combined will win. On your turn, you simply flip the top card over from the deck and perform the task that corresponds to the symbol on the orange sign here. It'll always be either a girder action or a worker action, and the requirements will vary based on the card. In this case, since the orange sign shows a girder, I'd perform the girder action here. The back of each card will always show 2 colors, meaning those are the 2 colors you can choose from. So in this case, I could take either a black or red girder and add it to the work site. Then I'd place 1 worker on that girder. If I did this successfully, my turn would be over, and all I would do then is pass this rescue hook to the player on my left. Let's say the next player turns this card over. Now, due to the hat icon, they'd perform the worker action. In this case, they'd place a worker on either a purple or red girder, and then place a brick on that worker. But it's possible that your hands weren't so steady and you caused an accident. So let's go over what counts as an accident and what happens when someone causes one. If any piece, including a hard hat, falls off the site during your turn and lands on the playing surface or on a worker, you've caused an accident. You lose one of your safety certificates and your turn ends immediately. If a fallen piece touches neither the playing surface nor a worker, or if just a support fell over, you have not caused an accident and you may continue your turn. At the start of your turn, if the previous player just caused an accident, you have to start your turn by cleaning up the work site before you even reveal your instruction card for that turn. Return any workers, girders, beams, and bricks that fell onto the playing surface to the supply. Use the rescue hook to retrieve pieces from under the site. Any girders touching the playing surface with only one end can be pushed back into the site if you'd like. You decide what to do with any of the fallen supports. You can either leave them in the work site or return them to the supply. The work site must be entirely clean and tidy and safe before you can move on by revealing your instruction card to take the next part of your turn. And remember, you can cause an accident while cleaning up the work site, which would end your turn immediately. So, when the Boss Rita card is revealed, it means she has arrived at the work site for the day and will remain there until the game ends. Set her card aside and reveal a new one with your task. Once Boss Rita is there, she can hand out Employee of the Month awards. At the end of a player's turn, if a material or worker they placed that turn occupies the highest position in the entire work site, Rita gives that player an Employee of the Month award. Now let's go over some additional rules and restrictions involving the construction site itself as well as the materials. When adding materials or workers, you may only use one hand. You may touch, move, and lift already placed materials and workers with pieces you're adding, but you cannot touch them with your hands. When adding materials and workers, you may try and test a position before deciding whether to place it there or not. Anything not prohibited by the instruction card or the rules of construction is allowed. If you don't succeed on your first try, but you didn't cause an accident, in other words, you knocked a brick off but it didn't hit the actual playing surface, you must keep trying with that same piece until you either complete the task or cause an accident. Now some specifics about girders. If girders of one of the colors have run out, you must use a girder of the other color instead. You may place girders on bricks and beams. Girders may not touch the playing surface. You may not place a girder on a worker's hard hat. You also may not place a girder completely on top of another one so that it covers its entire surface. If the girder you place must touch other girders, it may touch them from above, below, or the side. In addition to the pieces that your piece must touch, it may also touch other pieces. And keep in mind, you must always meet all of the requirements on the instruction card before you can consider your task complete. Bricks and beams must be placed on workers' arms. If you have to place several bricks and/or beams, you may place them freely on the arms of the worker you just placed and may even stack them on top of each other. If ever you can't comply with an instruction card because the worksite doesn't contain the materials you need, just reveal the next card instead. Remember, when you lose your last safety certificate, you're eliminated from the game and the other players continue on without you. If instead you get to the right number of Employee of the Month awards first, you immediately win. The only other way the game can end is if the building site runs out of materials before either of those first two conditions are met, in which case the player with the most combined awards and certificates will win. If any players are tied at that point, the player who has the more awards wins. If it's still tied, players will share the victory. And that's how you play Men at Work. If you like this, keep an eye out for our upcoming video review as well as written review in the next week or so, and drop us a comment below. Let us know what you think. Have you played Men at Work? Does this catch your eye or not? If you like the video, please consider liking and/or subscribing. And otherwise, stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time.